Yeah, so we want to, we really want to look at this if we're going to look at the problem, and if our goal is healthy relationships and to decrease domestic violence, we kind of have to intervene or tackle all aspects.
All aspects, yeah. It's holistic. That's
yeah.
Right.
Welcome back, friends. Episode number 92. Sheriff is Todd Baxter. That's my name. I'm behind the badge, and we're sharing our program to illustrate some people that are working with us in our community that help us out, support us. That's the whole idea behind the badge in this podcast. And today we're talking about the Veterans Administration, the federal government, and the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and collaborating and working together and how we can help in the world of domestic violence and sexual assault. And that's probably unique. No one ever thought about that. Federal government working with local law enforcement to help people out. So I'm going to introduce my guest here in a second, but I thought it was important that we just maybe prelude this with a little video from our federal partners.
Intimate partner violence, also known as IPV, is a serious public health problem that affects millions of Americans. Research suggests veterans are at an increased risk for using and/or experiencing IPV than their civilian counterparts. The Veterans Health Administration recognizes IPV as a significant and complex health issue.
And it's a huge issue. We have many people. One of the most popular calls law enforcement goes to, I would say, is domestic violence. And we've had that conversation before with one of our guests, Paula Penna. How are you, Paula?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Welcome back. In being a victim advocate for the Sheriff's Office, we stole you a couple of years ago from the DA's office, and we're so happy with that. It's unfortunately way too common for us to deal with domestic violence, interpartner violence. And it's kind of what you're doing with the Sheriff's Office, helping on the back end of that story, right? Helping people get services and go through the court systems.
And a lot of times domestic violence victims, they call for help because they're scared and they need the help immediately. However, they don't really want to go through the systems.
The systems, yeah.
And they want to stay and they want to make things work. And so part of my job as a victim advocate is to make sure they have the resources available to them.
And it's a very confusing time. It's a very traumatic time for families going through that type of situation. But the uniqueness here is as we bring Vince in, Vince Schillaci from the Veterans Administration.
Yes, sir.
Vince and I have known each other for years, working with the Veterans Outreach Center and Veterans Court. And you're always a very proactive, leaning forward person from a federal agency. Most people don't think of federal agencies being proactive and leaning forward in their communities, but that's always been your method of operation. And in particular on this, you're running a test pilot for a test project, if you will, for the Veterans Administration.
Yes.
On this very subject. So why don't you, first of all, tell a little bit about yourself and what is this test pilot you're doing for the VA?
Sure, absolutely. So like you said, my name is Vince Schillaci.
I call you Schillaci, and I'll do it.
It's close enough.
There you go.
You got this. So what I do at the VA is I'm what's called an Intimate Partner Violence Assistance Program, IPVAP coordinator.
There's an acronym there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so really what we're charged with is there's one of us at every VA medical center. There's, about 172 medical centers. We're doing a lot of prevention, awareness work. We're working directly with people who both experience and use intimate partner violence.
Yeah, and when you're sitting back and thinking about the Veterans Administration and taking care of our service members as they disengage from the Department of Defense, right?
Yeah.
This is something people don't think about. I'm almost positive the majority of the people don't think about the VA being involved in this health issue, if you will.
Absolutely,
also.
Absolutely. And I'll kind of tie this into what you had first mentioned about this pilot site that we're doing. You're right, this is unique. It's unique in a sense of to address intimate partner violence or domestic violence within a healthcare system. I know that Strong with their HEAL program does an amazing job. We take that a step further with our assessments, make sure those are done. We monitor our metrics. We're really trying to tackle this from so many different angles.
And there's a lot of angles to it, right? You're talking about intimate partner violence. You're talking about veterans and veterans' families. You're talking about criminal justice and law enforcement. There's so many moving parts. And as Paula said, some people just need a guidance through it, but we need to have a better process at the other end of it. that
Yeah.
we're people are going to be whole when they leave the system. That's our end goal, right?
Right.
And you mentioned something I think is very powerful. You're talking about the perpetrators of these things too, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we want to, we really want to look at this if we're going to look at the problem, and if our goal is healthy relationships and to decrease domestic violence, we kind of have to intervene or tackle all aspects.
All
of it.
aspects of it, yeah. It's holistic. That's pretty,
Yeah.
Right. And from my perspective, in knowing all the different resources in the community that are available, I can refer people to the HEAL program or other Willow or other programs within our community. The thing that I particularly like is that veterans have different baggage that come with
Right,
them,
right.
and referring them to programs like the VA has and to Vince's program, it's invaluable because there's an understanding and a comfortable place for them to have these discussions where it's not about, and a lot of these other agencies, they're not working with perpetrators.
Right.
They're working with the victims and helping the victims get through.
And
but working with
you
the
made a great comment
perpetrators.
off air about that. I mean, a lot of the victims aren't disengaging from
Right.
the perpetrators. They're going to be living together again in
Right.
the future. So I thought that was a great comment about if they're coming back, and we want to work with both sides.
Right. Let's
Yeah,
make it a
absolutely.
safe space for them to
everybody.
coexist
Right.
instead of this antagonistic, dangerous
So
space.
you guys are experts in this unique environment. We're going to go into your map here in a second. But is that possible, right? Is that possible to have them coexist, even if there's intimate partner violence?
Yeah.
Is maybe not the right solution for everybody, but people are surviving and successfully living together and being more holistic with their relationships.
I think the problem is complex enough that all the situations are different. So we start there, but there's definitely some commonalities. It's an extremely hard choice for someone to leave a situation.
Right.
And I think
There's a lot
when
that goes into it.
There's a lot that goes
It's
into
not
that.
just finances.
Finances,
Love,
fear
kids,
for
school
life, love of
districts,
kids, the
families.
loss of something happening, and
People have no idea.
and
right?
still
It's a
perhaps
lot.
loving that partner,
Right.
and
Correct.
having
Right.
good times with that partner.
And knowing this is not who he really is
Yeah.
or who she really is.
Yeah.
So that should really that guides us. That guides us about how we go for this work,
Right.
right? We're playing the long game. If we
Yeah.
shut you down in the beginning, why
love
are
the
you
way-
not leaving? That might not be the end goal. But if I'm sitting here and I can bear witness to this, get you what you need.
Right.
And if you don't, that's okay too.
Right.
But when you call me, you're going to get the same person next time that's not telling you what to do, but is there to assist
So
you.
let's pull up that graphic and show the the breadth of the VA,
Yeah.
right? And the
Yeah, this
districts,
is a
but-
big, this is the landscape view here.
and you
of
talked about the
Veterans
pilots are in
Affairs.
circles there. So just explain to the viewers.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. So this is something exciting that we're doing that is somewhat new. Back in 2020, not too long ago, there was a bill signed through Congress, and really it's called the Megabus, and it's the Megabus is like an omnibus bill.
Okay.
So it has several different parts of legislation aimed at assisting veterans. So a small little part under that is a pilot to look at the accessibility and the feasibility of offering services for sexual assault and intimate partner violence to former service members. So the language in that is important, as I think I mentioned before, Sheriff. We're doing something new. We haven't always tackled sexual assault. We haven't always tackled intimate partner violence as a facility. When I came into this position 4 years ago, there was nothing standard in place. So me and my colleagues hit the ground running building that up. But now we're adding something different. So if someone comes in and discloses that they were sexually assaulted, not just military, but perhaps as a child, perhaps they were sexually assaulted or raped that day or a week ago, what does that look like when that person comes through the door? And we've been looking at that very closely. We've done a lot of deep dives. We've written a white paper. We keep metrics. We look at public law around this area. We look at all the numbers that go into this. And we're one of 10 sites that's doing that. So
And that's the circles up there.
those are the
that's-
black circles up there. So very proud that Finger Lakes is one of them. And really what they're trying to do is you'll notice there's a very diverse area up there. You can see our colleagues out in Washington, Hawaii, Arizona, Central Arkansas, Chicago, Tennessee Valley, and North Florida, South Georgia. At the end of this, there's a congressionally mandated report.
Okay.
So this gets compiled all together, all of our work over this 2-year pilot, and it gets brought up to the Senate, and they review everything that was done through there. And we hope that this is going to shape how we do business. And
so how's that playing? So Paula, you obviously know Vince, and you guys work together. But again, explain that connectivity between you and what you do for the sheriff's office and a federal agency.
It's funny because initially I was at the DA's office at the time, and Vince was referring people to me. Vince was saying, can you help her figure this part out? She's got a question about the court. So that's how we initially connected. And as I moved to the sheriff's office and started working on cases pre-prosecution, sometimes that are never going to make prosecution, I was like, Vince, I need help. Vince, I need help. I need a program for this family. And I've had cases that I've referred to him, to his program, that are going through prosecution and some that are not. So that's the beauty, I think, of it, is that there's really no, it doesn't have to fit a certain mold in order to help these people get
there's
services.
quite a bit of flexibility.
And that's another great thing about the way you and I have worked together is even if I don't have somebody that I'm going to refer to him, Vince, here's the situation. What do you think about this?
Right.
So we can, and him the same with me. Like, what resources are in Rochester that you know of that could fit this? And that's so awesome that we could do that.
Years ago, there was a game show where you phone a friend, right?
You're
stuck with that.
Yeah.
That's just leadership.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best traits that I do all the time. I'm bold enough, I think, to know what I don't know. But there's probably someone down the road that
absolutely
has an idea at least.
And I have my limitations. I'm not coming from the same framework that Paula is. So, I hear courts and I hear all of that. I need someone or from police that maybe a little walk through this.
Right.
Most importantly, I don't want to throw someone out there blind. I want them going to someone who acts in a trauma-informed way, in a manner that takes that person where they're at with respect. So I know that I'm not only getting the information and the advocacy, but it's going to someone who, quote unquote, gets it.
Right.
And that operates within a standard of care that I operate in.
Right.
Yeah, not causing more trauma.
Right, absolutely.
And that's so much
a
what the
concern.
system does.
Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult, complex web.
Mental health, domestic violence, homelessness, substance abuse,
Financial,
the systems are vast, and there's a lot of in the veterans we used to call the sea of goodwill. A lot of people willing to help and they're capable of help, but to navigate those systems is almost impossible.
Absolutely.
By yourself.
Right.
And so I think that's one of the great things about this program is that we're able to do that. We're not just, sometimes we're just providing numbers, but most of the time we're providing numbers, consultations, sometimes some short-term counseling services that we're trained in to work with folks to get them where they need to be.
Awesome, guys. Well, we're about ready to wrap up the program, but I wanted to share my coffee mug with the New York State the Sheriff of New York. Did you know there was a sheriff in New York?
Really?
Yeah, very cool guy. I went to visit him, and again, we're talking about stealing other people's ideas and collaboration. He does some amazing stuff, and they don't run a jail down there. They don't run a road patrol, but they do kind of like our civil bureau here at the sheriff's office. But they 175 deputies out doing it. So I just sent 4 deputies down there to steal their ideas, right?
And their mugs.
In their mugs.
And their mugs.
I didn't steal it. He gave it to me. So the record's straight.
That's fair.
I don't know if you ever noticed watching the podcast, but one of the things I do is bring a different coffee mug each time.
Gotcha.
So, this is the coffee mug day.
Very nice.
New York City Sheriff. A lot of people don't know there's a sheriff down there.
Maybe I need to get one for the Victim Assistance Program.
I like your ideas. Yes.
I'll have to get money.
Yeah. I hate your ideas. Oh, that's good. Well, Vince, always a pleasure to see you.
Yes,
Hope
you
the
too,
family
sir.
doing well.
Yes, they are.
Tolerating you. I mean, the family's doing
yeah.
good. Okay, good. And Paula, you're a breath of fresh air every time you walk in this building.
Thank
It's just
you.
your energy, your compassion for people, and your ability to collaborate.
I love what I get to do every
God
day.
Bless. It's a beautiful thing. So we used to finish up on a thing called the No Miranda Zone. So we'll just ask you a question. You got to answer. What's the last movie you watched, Vince?
Oh, God. I don't watch a lot of movies.
Come on. One. Christmas is coming up. Give you a clue. Might be The Grinch from last year. Paula,
I'm
what's the
gonna
last
go
movie
with-
you watched?
going to go with Back to the Future.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a new one? A sequel came out, or is it the old one you watched?
No, the original.
Did
the
you really?
original's best. There's 2 and 3 that came out as well.
I didn't know that. I thought there
But
was.
yeah, it's the first, and my son is really into it as well. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my go-to. I don't watch a lot of movies,
Right.
but I would have to say that was one of
Interesting. Very good. Paula?
them.
The Blind Side.
All right.
It was on. I was scrolling through channels. It was on. I had to watch it.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That's cool.
Classics are good.
Yeah, absolutely. But I look at the graphics. I'm like, man, the graphics changed that
Oh my
much. Get
God.
that much
they
better
do.
that
When
fast.
you go back to 80s
Back to the
movies.
Future, you're like, even things like Stripes and
Yeah.
Caddyshack. I'm like,
Oh,
wow, how bad were the
absolutely.
cameras?
It was not good.
Yeah, it's
but
amazing.
Great
But,
movie.
well, guys, thanks for joining us. It's so great to have you here, and thanks for what you do. You're saving lives and changing lives. That's for damn sure. So appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Absolutely.